Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week 10 of the DREF Financial Health and Wellness Program. I am Antoinette Rogers, Director of Programs for DREF, and we have been wonderfully educated and blessed over these last 10 weeks. Thank you for joining us and making the Financial Health and Wellness Program a great success. During each of our sessions, we have given away great prizes, and we want you to be on the lookout over the next few weeks for your special holiday gifts that will be arriving via email or in your mail. So be on the lookout for those. This week, we also ask all participants to complete a post-assessment. This post-assessment is akin to the pre-assessment, which you completed early on in the program. Your completion of this instrument allows us to measure your growth as participants from week 1 to week 10. So we ask you to complete the post-assessment, and the link for that will appear in the chat very shortly. Also, good afternoon again, good evening. We encourage you to look out for not only the post-assessment link that will be in the chat, but also coming to you in the next few days will be an evaluation link. And that evaluation link allows us to get feedback from you on the program and the speakers, the presentation and content, and so forth. So we encourage you to complete both the post-assessment, which is in the chat tonight, and the evaluation, which will be coming at the conclusion of this program. When you logged on, you may have seen a slideshow, and I must take time to thank the wonderful financial health and wellness team that helped make this program possible. We could not have done it without this team. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Lynn Richardson and her Wealth University team for the wonderful content and support offered to the program. I also want to thank our digital navigators, Tia Gilliam and Danielle Miles, who have been responsible for the PowerPoints and videos that you have seen over these 10 weeks. I also want to thank our technology assistant, Miranda Askew Brown, who has worked diligently on the assessments and the evaluations that you will receive. Also, our program coordinator is Barbara Mosley Davis. And Barbara has worked tirelessly to ensure that our participants have what they need and have your resources each week. Thank you to her, as well as to Margaret Epps Snag, who is our video editor and a project consultant. I must also thank the DREF staff, who have worked behind the scenes to make things happen and to ensure that this program has been a success. I also would like to thank the DREF finance and accounting teams, as well as the DREF board of directors and Delta Sigma Theta sorority. It is my great pleasure to now introduce the executive director of DREF, Carla Green. She is the captain of this ship, and she will come to you now to bring you greetings and a few important words. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rogers, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our final session for the 10-week Financial Health and Wellness series. Again, I am Carla Green, Executive Director of the Delta Research and Educational Foundation. On behalf of the board of directors, the staff, and myself, I thank you for joining us during our time with financial expert Dr. Lynn Richardson. Our ultimate goal during this series was to help you gain a better understanding on how to reach your financial goals, take advantage of opportunities, and provide you with the knowledge and flexibility to pursue your dreams. Before we begin our Q&A session, a little DREF history. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated established the Delta Research and Educational Foundation, also known as DREF, as a 501c3 charitable organization supporting scholastic achievement, public service programs, such as the Financial Health and Wellness Program, as well as research initiatives, all focused on African American women, our families, and our communities. As a charitable organization, DREF is supported through financial contributions. Our promise to every donor is unqualified accountability and a plight to build stronger families and communities. As a 501c3 tax-exempt organization, qualified donors are entitled to a federal income tax deduction for every dollar invested in our charitable work. We value the trust you place in our hands and manage contributions efficiently. So I wanted to just put this out there. Feel free to make a commitment to invest in the work of DREF and join our legacy of donors who share a commitment to create possibilities and improve lives. There are several ways to give to DREF. Please visit www.deltafoundation.net. Also, please be sure to follow us on our social media platforms. Thank you again, and I will now leave you in the hands of Dr. Lynn Richardson.
Now, I don't care about upsetting people because I don't like people. I love them, but I don't want liking people to get in the way of loving them. Because if I like you too much, I might not tell you the truth. But if I love you, I'm always going to give it to you real. Let's just deal with the truth. First of all, everybody who's running around broke, talking about you don't spend no money on nothing, you're lying to yourself. The money is going somewhere.
But what about using some of your hard-earned money to treat yourself?
I tell women, if you go into the beauty shop every week, that's $50 a week, that's $2,600 a year, get you a ponytail. It's $12.99. You'll be rich.
Bankruptcy, foreclosure, I wrote a bad check, this, that, and the other, honey. Don't come in here with no excuses.
We are joined by author and financial expert, Dr. Lynn Richardson, along with rapper and author, MC Light. They are here to tell us and share details on their book, Your Man and Your Money.
I generally do not advise that couples, even when they're married, buy things together. Because if you buy everything together and you have a financial setback, then everybody's credit gets ruined. Everybody goes down.
So here to help us figure out the budget for our big day is celebrity financial coach Lynn Richardson. Welcome, Lynn.
The most expensive thing is either the dress or the people.
Oh, well, you have to wear the dress.
Yeah.
I guess you got to
You don't get people? What are you trying to say?
Here's the deal. The people cost money because they want to eat.
You know, they want to eat.
I know you might have your eyes on a hot new pair of shoes, but if you file your taxes properly, you might just be able to pay off those credit card bills, build a legacy for your family, and get those shoes. Wealthy people don't take pride in how much money they spend. They take pride in building legacy based on how much money they keep. Consider a business owner's policy, a straightforward package of coverages designed for the many sides of your business, so you can be sure everything you worked so hard to build is protected. Contact your local Nationwide agent or log on to learn more. How much do you spend each day on a cup of coffee? Think about it. It adds up fast. And before you know it, you spent more money on caramel lattes than you put in your savings account the whole year. I kept finding myself in a feast to famine situation. I'd have a whole lot of money, then I'd have no money because I didn't believe in budgets. I thought budgets were for poor people.
Honey, I was crazy as all get out. Do you understand me?
Why are we not wealthy? Why aren't we wealthy? It's because we have not tapped into our own power. So the first thing that we have to do as a sister in business is realize that we have to spend less money than we make.
My dream was to help other people achieve their dreams.
There is not an aspect of my life that has not changed due to the presence of my sister, Lynn Richardson. Because of her presence, everything has changed for me. You know, last year I could say we sort of quadrupled our income. This year, I mean, I'm sort of scared because it comes with bonuses for her.
I finally got my money right, and now I want to help others get theirs right too.
Okay, well, I am so excited to be here this evening. I am incredibly just delighted and elated to share not only some things with you, but someone with you tonight who's going to be really special. I first have to thank the Delta Research and Educational Foundation just for having the heart and the mind to do this. This is so important. And although this is our last class for this series, I say that this is not our last time communicating together, because this really is a lifetime commitment. Financial health and wellness is something that you will need to pay attention to and incorporate in your life forever. I am still working on my estate plan from 2 years ago. And one of my very beloved dear friends who's also an attorney is helping me with it, but things change. And so now I have to update it again. So just to remember that this is not a one-time organization, and this is not a one-time process. The path to financial health and wellness, we will continue on. I also want to thank the Toyota organization for your support. I want to thank you just for believing in this. I want to thank Delta Sigma Theta Sorority for the overarching commitment to economic development. And I want to thank someone who's going to join me tonight, Lori Jones Gibbs. You have heard me speak about her in the past. You have certainly heard me quote her. And I could not complete this series without bringing her with us tonight. So I'll introduce you to her a little bit later. She's actually going to speak. I'm so excited. But we will get started because we've got lots of questions and answers. And I want to make sure you can see my screen. So I'm making sure with my team that all tech matters are handled. Let's just see. Can you see my screen? Just want to make sure. Okay. Can you see my screen? You should be able to see my screen. I've got it up here. Okay, great. You can see my screen. So let's get started. So what we've gone through, I'm going to go through this very quickly. This will only take 3 minutes or less. We talked about spending less money, getting more money, getting your money back, making your money grow, protecting your wealth, owning where you live, maximizing your credit health, adopting a giving mindset. That was such a wonderful experience, going through gratitude and understanding all of those concepts. And then now we are here in our final question and answer strategy session. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I want you to remember that wellness is the act of practicing. That means practicing. That means you have to do it, repeat it over and over again. Healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better physical and mental health outcomes so that instead of just surviving, you are thriving. Stair step number 1 was to spend less money. Stair step number 2 was to get more money. Stair step number 3, get your money back. Start a home-based business. Everybody needs a home-based business. Stair step number 4, make your money grow. Stair step number 5, protect your wealth and build generational wealth. Every single person represented here tonight has the ability to create generational wealth.
I started creating generational wealth when I was on food stamps, because you don't need to have any money to build wealth. What you need to have is a strategy to ensure that the wealth you are either creating right now or the wealth that you can create in the future will pass on to the people you love and or to the communities and causes that you love. So even if you don't have children, even if you don't have any family members, it's always a great idea to build generational wealth so that you can pass on what God has given to you to others. Step number 6 is to own where you live. If you are paying your landlord's mortgage, you certainly can pay your own. Step number 7, maximize your credit health. It's better to have credit and not need it than to need it and not have it. That is a quote directly from our very own Lori Jones Gibbs, who you'll meet tonight. Step number 8 is adopt a giving mindset. Tithe, give, stop hoarding, purge unnecessary material things. So we have some questions, and what I've done this week is I've placed the questions on the screen so you can see them as we go through them. So question number 1 was to please explain the debt to income ratio as it applies to filling out an application for a personal loan. This is a great question. So your debt to income ratio is going to be an equation that takes into consideration your monthly debts that are on your credit report. So right here in green, the monthly debts on your credit report divided by your gross monthly income. Okay, divided by your gross monthly income. That's going to be your debt to income ratio. So for example, if you have a $500 daycare bill and a $250 car note, then your debt to income ratio is $250. We're not going to include the daycare bill because it's not on your credit report. We're going to take the $250 car note on your credit report, divide by 1,000, and your total debt to income ratio is 0.25 or 25%. So you should always know your debt to income ratio. But because this is about financial health and wellness, you must beware. You should always know your living to income ratio. That is far more important. Your living to income ratio would then be all of your bills. So now I'm going to take your daycare bill and your car notes. That's going to be $750 divided by your income. And now you have a 75 ratio because that's what's really real. This is your real life living to income ratio. I'm going to give you another example. You don't see here on the screen. You want to take all of your bills and then you want to divide it by your net income. So if your gross income is $1,000 and your net income is only $750, then 750 divided by 750 would mean you would have a 100% debt ratio, which means you are close to being in trouble because every single penny that you earn, you actually spend. So while you are out shopping for mortgages, while you are out shopping for car loans, while you are out shopping, I don't want you to just stop at the debt to income ratio. I also want you to think about what we just created tonight. That's your living to income ratio. That is what life is going to be like every single day. I know people who have a 50% debt ratio when they're looking at their credit card bills on their credit report or the bills on their credit report and their mortgage. But when they think about all the other things that they spend money on, daycare, tuition, subscriptions, groceries, gas, hair, nails, all that stuff doesn't disappear. Okay, so it's very, very important to know what your actual real life living to income ratio is. And I say that your living to income ratio should be below 50%. That means if you take all of your bills, whether they are on your credit report or not, and you take your net income, that's the money you bring home. And if your living to income ratio is less than 50%, then guess what? You can start to build wealth. And you can be in the same shoes that I was in 16, 20, 17, 18 years ago when I was just starting over again for the third time. And I met my mentor, Lori Jones Gibbs, and she was already living like this. And I'm proud to say that now I have college educated daughters. I am now an empty nester. And now I am also walking in the same path of financial freedom and have achieved almost every single one of my financial goals. So this is very, very important. So thank you for that question. Question number 2, do you have any suggestions for investing in one's grandchildren? So I'm going to start by saying, hire your grandchild to work in your home-based business. Y'all know I'm going to say it every single time. And have them place the excess money they do not spend into an individual retirement account. So the money that you pay your grandchild is a tax write-off to you, and it's tax-free to them up to the first $13,200. And now every penny that they make over that can go into an individual retirement account. And that's a much better way to teach them about money, business, and entrepreneurship, but also to invest for the future. I'm also going to say open a custodial account at a bank and start a money market or other interest-bearing account. Also ask about mutual funds, but you want to speak to an investment advisor about the tax implications. So right now, we're going to bring Lori Jones-Gibbs to the screen. She is a connoisseur of wealth. She has worked at the government level, at the federal level, in corporations, in nonprofits, at the banking level. She has really taught me almost everything I know about money and living in it practically. And because Lori has such a wide, vast background, it just so happens she is also a proud grandmother of several grandchildren, and I already know the things that she is doing are the things that I'm going to duplicate. So welcome to Stair Steps to Wealth and the Financial Health and Wellness webinar. Lori, please continue to provide some suggestions about investing for one's grandchildren.
Thank you so much, Lynn, and thank you so much, DREF. I will tell you what I invest in. My husband and I invest in for our grandchildren. We invest in stocks. Each of our grandchildren have Apple, they have Google, they have Disney, they have, because you don't have to buy them a lot. You can buy them 2 or 3 shares, but by the time they get older, when they're going to need it, it's going to be worth a lot of money. We have 529s for each of them. We invest in I-bonds more so than E-bonds, because I-bonds is going to give you a guaranteed return, and they'll tell you what your return will be on the first 6 months after you invest in it. And it'll give you a maturation rate of how much your money would be if you keep it in for 9 years. Well, my grandchildren are 4, 6, 7, 7, and 8. So they got a long time to allow the money to grow for them. Money markets. But the most important thing is we set up our will, our estate plan, that if something were to happen to our children, the assets go to our grandchildren. I do not want anything to happen to my children, but if something were to happen to them, as the Bible says, you leave your children's an inheritance. We tease our kids all the time. They said, Mom and Dad, y'all not doing anything else for us. I said, we did everything we're supposed to. We made sure you got a good education. You could take care of yourself. Now, if something were to happen to you, we need to make sure our grandchildren can live a lifestyle you all have made them accustomed to. That's what I'm going to say about that, because I know Lynn has other things to say, but truly start somewhere. I don't care if you start putting $25 a weekend. Start somewhere, $25 a month, but put it in and watch your money. The biggest problems I think most of us have is we put our money in an investment and we don't watch it. I'm watching my money, because when one bank go from 4% to 5%, then I'm moving that money market to the new bank. Just be a connoisseur and make sure you know where your money is and how your money is growing, especially with the stair steps Lynn have given you. Once you free yourself of debt, I'm a retired woman. I haven't worked for a year. People have been trying to put me to work. I finally decided to go to work as a contractor because they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. I can make a lot of money doing a little bit of work. So that's going to help my grandchildren down the line. But if there are any questions, please feel to put them in the chat. But our investments are stocks, 529, I-bonds, mutual funds, money markets, and then the will, the estate plan that leaves everything to the grandchildren if something happened to their parents.
Wow. So amazing. Let me tell you. So my children, I don't have any grandchildren yet. I have grand pets and grand plants. All of my kids have animals. They have dogs and cats and stuff. But the Google stock and the Apple stock, but I'm now going to go on and get the Disney stock. So I have nieces and nephews as well. And just like Lori just stated to us, I don't buy Christmas presents and Christmas toys. Now, you come to my house, we have a great time, but I buy stock, and everybody has a custodial account. And they may not think I'm the most fun auntie today, although they all want to come live with me. I don't even understand why. Because if they come live with me, they got to work in the home-based business. But I think that's exciting to them. But I told my brothers and sisters and siblings and sibling-in-laws, I said, they might not think I'm the fun auntie today, but when they turn 18 and they see that bank account and they see that stock account and they see that they have money for businesses, they are going to love me, Demetrius. So for those of you who have grandchildren, children, nieces, nephews, even sometimes siblings, cousins, we are a community that we raise our own. So those are some great tips. So thank you so much, Lori. And
let
we
me
will
just
hear
say one more
more.
thing. Let me just say one
Yes.
more thing. All those accounts are in the name of me and my husband for the benefit of our grandchildren. And we do that clearly because, our kids might be in love now, and I hope they have forever marriages. But just in case, if they don't, I'm looking out for my grandchildren. So make sure you manage the money that you plan on allowing your grandchildren to inherit. I had my kids cracking up. I said, y'all might run into hard luck and then want to borrow the money from the kids, say you're going to pay it back. Nope. I'm not allowing any of that. That's what I'm going to say.
Absolutely. And that's why that custodial account.
Right.
So what we have now, we have custodial accounts for the young people in our family. And a custodial account is a very, very big deal. It's a very big deal. You can go take that money out if you want to. You might end up in jail. Okay. So when you open that a custodial account for the benefit of that child, then
Right.
that is, pretty much binding. Okay. So this is awesome. Awesome. Great. Question number 3, do you have a course? And we are taking the questions as you gave them to us. Do you have a course for starting a sole proprietorship LLC home-based business? The answer is yes. How to start a home-based business is a registered trademark. It is so game-changing. It went around the globe during the pandemic, so much so that the U.S. Patent and Trade Office decided to give me a trademark. So even though it sounds like a simple title, it is a registered trademark, and I teach it at newwealthuniversity.net. And the course pretty much is free because the book comes with it. Okay. But we don't just teach how to start a home-based business. It doesn't stop there. We also teach why everyone needs a home-based business. I don't know if you've ever heard me tell the story of Antoine Walker, the NBA player who had a $100+ million contract. And he was in the NBA for a couple of years. And then when he was out of the NBA, he was infamously broke. And while he was in the NBA, people thought, oh, he has so much money. How could he go broke? Well, let me tell you, if you have a $100 million contract, you owe your agents and your attorneys probably 20%. So there's 20 to 30% gone. So now he's down to 70 million. Then he has taxes. So the taxes are probably roughly 30 to 40%. So now that's another $30 to $40,000 gone. I mean, $40 million gone. So now he may only have, from a $100 million contract, he may only have about $40 million. Well, you might be thinking, well, he should be able to do it. Well, the problem with that is you don't pay your taxes until after you get the money, sometimes years later. So he spent all that money. So when it was time to pay taxes, he didn't have the tax money. In addition to that, he was taking his family everywhere on vacations, buying cars, on trips, because you know how it is when we're the ones in our families to make it, then we want to help everybody. Well, the problem is, and he talks about this, had he hired his family members, then every time they went on a trip, it would have been a tax write-off. Had he hired his family members, when he gave them money, he would not have been giving them money. He would have been paying them a salary. It would have been a tax write-off to him. So there are hundreds and hundreds of reasons why you need to start a home-based business. It's great that you want to start one, but you need to understand why everybody needs one. And then the course also includes about 60 minutes of tax deduction training. It is the longest class in New Wealth University, the longest one-session class, and it is literally a game changer. So thank you for that question. I'm very happy to provide you with that answer. Okay, question number 4A, because this was a multi-part question, so I broke it down. How do I structure a t-shirt business? I'm on assistance and I don't know how to run a business. How do I determine the hours and figure out what to do in the daily operations? I read a little on how to register LLC and about order of operations. I want to know how do I come up with an order of operations. So I'm going to teach you tonight, and this is something for everybody, whether you want to start a t-shirt business, whether you want to start a clothing business, a medical, device business, a consulting business. Here are some questions you need to ask yourself. Now, what you have to understand is, as you begin to go through the process, you're going to collide into your answers, because once you start answering questions, those answers become the blueprint for how you operate. So first of all, who are the laborers? The Bible says that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. That means your number one resource in your business is people. It's not money. It's not the books or the tools that you sell. It's actually the people, because you could have all the money in the world for your business, and the wrong people, they could steal your money, they could waste your money, there could be all kinds of things. So who are the laborers? Who are you going to get in this business? Is it yourself? Do you do marketing? Do you do design? Who actually sells the t-shirts? If you're going to sell the t-shirts, if you're going to go to a convention or a trade show, who's going to set it up? Who's going to stand at the booth? Who's going to count the shirts? Who's going to do the inventory? So there are many, many questions to start to ask. Just write on a sheet of paper, or if you are already in the Entrepreneurs Academy and you're taking the Master Achievement Plan, this is laid out for you. But who are the laborers? The second question is, what is the service and what are the operating principles and guidelines? Okay, so what service are you providing? Do your t-shirts, are they a good quality? Or are they the least expensive t-shirts you can find? Is the thickness of the material important to you? Do you get the materials here in the United States? Do you get it from someplace else? Is it handmade? What are the benefits, cost, and protectable assets? So what are the benefits of this t-shirt business? Are you selling a t-shirt that says something new or different? What is the cost of actually making that t-shirt? Okay. And once you determine the cost and how much you're going to sell it for, what are the protectable assets? Almost everything that I have, you'll hear me talk a lot about trademarks. My name, Lynn Richardson, at the bottom of the screen. The reason why you see the R there is because Lynn Richardson is a registered trademark. I have more areas for my name in business than Oprah has in hers. Let me repeat. I have more coverages under my name than Oprah has in hers. Oprah has TV and media and film and all those things. So if your name is Oprah and you want to do those things, too bad, because she owns a trademark for all of those areas. Lynn Richardson, my trademark application is the longest one that anybody has ever seen. It's about it's a page and a half. So I cover teaching, training, and seminars. Now, not just financial seminars or financial training, all teaching, all training, all seminars are under the trademark of Lynn Richardson. Entertainment activities, all of my courses. So what you want to think about is, what are your protectable assets? Your ideas are protectable assets. That is your intellectual property. So if there's a quote on your t-shirt that you came up with, then you want to think about how to protect that and how to get the proper trademark and copyright for your protectable assets. When are you going to achieve your goals and milestones? So what is your timeline? If you want to start the business, when do you want to have the first t-shirt available on social media? Do you want to do a pre-sale, or do you want to launch the business with the products in hand? When are your timelines? When do you get them printed? When do they go to the market? When do you start to look for a profit? Because in the beginning, when you're building the business, you don't have a profit on day one in most cases, because you've got to spend the money to make it. Where is the business headed? Are you trying to do this business so that you can have a business for the rest of your life? Or are you trying to do this business so you can one day sell it? And one of my mentors, he stepped up. Why is this important to you? Why? Why does it exist? Successful businesses provide a need. Successful businesses solve a problem. And successful businesses have the passion of its creator. Why is it important to you? For some people, they started a business in mortgages so they could make money. That's it. I started doing mortgages so I could help people. So my colleagues were making 10 times more money than me per loan. My colleague make $10,000 on a loan. I only make $1,000. Well, my colleague didn't care about getting repeat customers. I did. So why is this business important to you? The why is going to determine how you set up your business. How are you going to achieve your revenue and profit goals? Where can a plane go without a pilot? You need a strategy. You need direction. You need to understand if you do $1,000 in sales for the first 3 months, what is it going to take to get to 5,000, 10,000? If you are already doing 5,000 or 10,000, what are your forecasting projections telling you about what's going to happen in the next 6 to 8 months? Is your industry going through something that will cause your supplies to be depleted? You want to think about all those things. You also want to study to show thyself approved. I know that we're frustrated. I know we're in a pandemic. I know things are happening. I am right now on a hip hop cruise in the middle of the ocean, and I was determined to get here no matter what. You never know where you're going to be. You never know where you're going to set up. So I had to go through extra steps. I had to spend more money to make sure that I had adequate information and connectivity to be able to even speak to you tonight. So how are you going to get there? Your network determines your net worth. If you have 5 broke friends, you're going to be number 6. If you have broke friends, you're going to be number 8. If you're around 8 broke businesses, yours is going to be number 9. So you want to surround yourself with people who have been where you are trying to go and who don't mind helping you. One of the things I say all the time is I want as many people doing as well as me as possible. As a matter of fact, I want you to do better than me. Then you can invite me somewhere. Okay? So one way that you can start to get all of this knowledge, and there are many different ways, but you can join the Entrepreneurs Academy. It's $100 off today. You don't need to do anything. But throughout these 10 weeks, you've asked me so many questions, and there are so many layered answers to each. I would be remiss if I did not share with you what I share with the world. And there's a whole academy to teach you these things. And you get a whole bunch of great stuff to go along with it. So thank you for that question. Now, the person who asked question 4A also asked 4B. How do you do taxes? I'm going to say speak to a tax preparer or take a tax preparation course. I don't do taxes. I'm much more interested in making sure that I understand my tax deductions. So I don't know how to fill out all of those sheets of paper on a tax return. But what I do know is how to play the game. And I tell everybody, if you want to learn about tax deductions, learn the rules of the game and play the game by the rules. Live your life like a business. I don't take vacations. I take business trips, and then we do fun things when I'm done working. I don't care where it is. This is a business trip I'm on right now. I was just in Bali. That was a business trip. I'm going to go to Cancun in January. That's a business trip. Everything I do is a business trip. And because the kids work for the business, the husband works for the business, everybody works for the business. When we go, my daughter's graduation, that was a business trip. We sat down, we discussed business ideas, we discussed people's strategies. And yes, we got to have some fun by the beach, and we hung out at the pool. Okay, so I live my entire life like a business. I encourage you to do so as well, because the difference between you and you're spending the money and it's gone. I'm spending the money and I'm getting it back. And I don't know about you, but if I can get some money back that I already spent, that's what I want to do. So that to me is the most important thing about taxes. But of course, if doing taxes is one of the business or income streams that you'd like to pursue, then take a tax preparation course. Document everything, keep receipts, and use your master business and budgeting journal to keep good records and to stay motivated. So that business and budgeting journal, it's got motivational daily reminders, all kinds of tips, but it also qualifies as a tax diary. So if you were ever in an IRS audit and you are recording your personal and business expenses in that journal every single day, if you had trouble documenting something, you could go back, because an auditor will treat a tax diary almost like it's the truth. Now, you can't just go running up and putting everything in there at the last minute. Actually keep the tax diary and make sure that you are documenting everything. Okay. You can also get the book, Get Your Money Back, Tax Deductions You Never Knew About. There are hundreds of tax deductions in there. Now, this was a separate question, but I think it came from the T-shirt business. So I'm so happy. I'm just so thankful for whoever submitted the question, because what you're telling me is that you're really serious. I want to do a T-shirt business, but I don't know what it consists of. Where can I get a mentor to help with that? Reach out to the Small Business Association in your city or the local Chamber of Commerce. Also, study other T-shirt businesses and duplicate their success. Do not infringe on their trademark, but duplicate their success with your own style. Lori, do you have any additional comments about the business questions that we just that were just presented, or any additional comments? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to continue on. At any time, Lori is more than welcome to add more comments. And we've worked together for so long, she can just jump right in. Number 6, how do you apply the 10-10-30-50 rule when you're living check to check? Start. That's how you do it. Just start. Put 10% aside for giving, 10% aside for saving, 30% cash on a separate debit card for your incidentals, and 50% for your bills. Now, you might do this today, and then tomorrow something might come and sweep it all away. I'm going to say start anyway. Do the best you can. The next thing, eliminate all unnecessary expenses. You don't have to, you don't need that subscription anymore. You don't need that gym subscription anymore. You can go walk outside or run or walk inside or get a video. Okay, if it's too cold outside. Think about all those things. You have to really start to eliminate and subtract things that are holding you back. You may have to do the 10-10-20-60 or some other combination. Okay, so you may have to only do 20% for your incidentals and 60% for your extra income. All roads lead back to a home base. Okay, whether you need extra money or whether you need to get your money back, all roads lead back to a home based business. As Lori said, she was out of retirement and they kept offering her opportunities, and she's got a consulting company and she does things. Everybody needs a home based business, okay, and a reason to have more income and less taxes and more opportunities to get your money back. Number 7, how do you start paying your delinquent accounts to get out of debt? Minimize your expenses so you have some extra money. Okay, so minimize your expenses. You've got some extra money. Let's say you've got an extra $200. You're going to take that $200. You're going to start with the smallest bill first. Divide the total bill into monthly payments. So if you have $1,000 delinquent debt, divide it into 5. You've got $200 extra dollars, and then pay it off. You'll be done with that in 5 months. Now keep finding extra money. But don't stop with the $200. Take the $200 plus your extra money. Take all of the money that you were paying on that bill plus any extra money you have and pay off the next smallest bill. Keep doing that. Keep finding extra money. So now you may have the $200 that you started with on bill 1. Now you've got an extra $25. Now take $225, put it on the next bill until it's paid off. Keep doing that until you cross the finish line. Okay. Thank you for that question. The next question.
Hey, Lynn.
Yes.
I wanted to go back. For somehow I was muted. I have 2 quick responses.
Yes. Awesome. I went back to that page. Excellent.
Okay. One was, I want to start a business. One of the biggest mentoring networks to consider is an organization called SCORE, SCORE. It's the nation's largest network of volunteers, of former expert business mentors. This is what they do, and they do it as volunteers. And there's generally one in just about every city, but definitely in every state, that you can have from CPAs to lawyers to technology gurus. But these are people who have been very successful in any business you can possibly think of, and they look to mentor people to help them. Lynn was saying, she was just talking about debt. One of the things that I found over the years is you first need to confirm that the debt is yours. Because if you're a junior with the last name Jones, Smith, Williams, or Johnson, you might have your daddy stuff or a brother stuff. So first, make sure that the debt is really yours. And then, as Lynn said here, make sure when you're making the payments or making any agreements Don't make agreements that you know you can't stick with. If they tell you they need $150 a month, and all you can pay is $50 a month, you keep negotiating until they give you that $50 a month, because no need to keep putting yourself in a worse situation. Go, Lynn. I'm not gonna. The other question on debt delinquent accounts people don't think about. A lot of people get in debt over medical bills.
Yes.
Every hospital, just about every public hospital, have what they call a hardship charity care payment or forgiveness. Look into that. I have helped so many people who were shocked. This one lady had $20,000 she owed Duke. Her income was less than $11,000 a year. I said, well, did you ever tell him that? She said, no. I said, well, let's sit down and write them a letter. And within 3 months, they forgave her $20,000 in medical debt because they know they was going to never get it. And they have money like that. So think about those types of options where you can get out of debt by using other people's money. Something Lynn and I like to use, other people's money.
All the time. All the time. Didn't I tell you all? I call Lori the legend, and I'm the youngin'. The legend always has something good for us. What can you do if you are not eligible? Question number 8. If you are not eligible to file bankruptcy when you own property, the court wants you to use equity. However, my credit score is too low for an equity loan. I'm stuck in a hard place. So let's start with this. You must have a good credit score and consistent verifiable income in order to get approved for a home equity loan or home equity line of credit. That is accurate. I am assuming by this question, I must presume that you do not have enough money to pay your mortgage and that you were considering filing bankruptcy, but you were not eligible because of some factor. I don't know if it was because of your income or what have you. But in many cases, you can take your past due mortgage payments and you can put them into a bankruptcy. So you'll have to make the Chapter 13 payment, the bankruptcy payment, along with all of your other debts. So if you have a car note, if you have any other credit cards, all of that will have to be a payment. But then you still have to make the current monthly mortgage payment. And one of the things that I say to people is don't fall in love with the walls. Mm-hmm. If you can no longer afford that house, it is time to move on. God will not bless you with something that's going to stress you. Let me repeat. God will not bless you with something that will stress you. And sometimes we're holding on to something that no longer belongs to us. And there's something else out there that could be our blessing. So consider leaving the property and choose a place to live that's affordable. Consider renting rooms so you can afford to pay the mortgage. Consider a deed in lieu of foreclosure or short sale so you can potentially leave the property and get cash for keys. I'm a happy, wealthy, excited homeowner now, but my house in Chicago, it was a part of the real estate crash and my house was upside down. And since they were unwilling to reduce my mortgage to the value of the home, I owed $400,000. It was only worth $170,000. Who pays more for anything than what it's worth? I don't. I was never going to do that. But I ended up staying in that house for 7 years, cooperating with the lender. And then when I left, we gave them back the deed and they gave us cash to leave. So for 7 years, I didn't make a mortgage payment and I received cash when I left. Now, this is not something that I'm telling you to do haphazardly. And it's certainly not something I'm telling you to do intentionally. I was left with no choice. I went through NACA, every single home program. I tried, but the real estate crash of that magnitude was very new to the world. In fact, many people's servicing departments quadrupled in size. So I went through that process. But know that if you are in bankruptcy or facing a property that you can no longer afford, that you don't have to stay stuck there. Of course, I would always say start a home-based business to earn extra income. Okay.
And I just want to make sure they heard one thing you said, Lynn. You can take advantage of those things. A lot of it is about timing. The financial industry wanted to at least get something. When that housing crisis hit, and we had what we call people were buying and dumping. Some people were dumping their old home and buying a new home that cost less than a $400,000 home. Financial institutions said, we don't want a total loss. So they were more willing to work and do those types of deals that Lynn just said to you that she did. Timing is a mechanism, but one thing I've always said, and Lynn have always said, don't wait till it gets too late. Keep talking to them. That document when you talk to them. Keep you a journal. Write down who you talk to, what date and what time. Because when you and follow up in writing, when you do that, they know you're serious. But don't just say, hear that what the comedian said. Oh, Well's calling me. I'm not answering that. No, pick up the phone and put yourself in a better situation. As the kids say, don't be scared.
So amazing. Oh my goodness. Sora Gibbs, and she is my Sora, everyone. Lori Jones Gibbs, everyone else. I wish we could do this again and again and again. Maybe we'll have to bring you back live online to get some more of these questions answered over the holidays. Always a pleasure to have you. Do you recommend debt relief counseling? Well, yes. However, be cautious about debt consolidation companies because they do not provide legal protection. I cannot tell you the number of people who have gone to debt relief counseling or debt consolidation counseling, and they have combined all of their monthly bills only to find out that the creditor is still reporting them late because the creditor is not getting a whole payment every month, only to find out that their credit is being ruined. These companies, in most cases, do not provide legal protection. So if you are going to seek debt relief that includes consolidation, then a Chapter 13 bankruptcy is a debt consolidation plan that also provides legal protection. So let's say, for example, you've got a credit card in there for $10,000, and you've also got a mortgage and a car note. When you go into a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, they're going to consolidate all of your debts, your past due mortgage payments, your car note, and everything. Then they're going to pay these debts off in the order of importance. First, they're going to pay off the mortgage. Then they're going to pay off the car note. Every single month when you make that payment, they're giving a little bit of money, the bulk of it first to the mortgage company, then the second big bulk to the car note. That credit card bill might be last. And even though you owe $10,000 on that credit card, when it's all said and done, they may only get $2,000. But your credit report will be wiped clean, your bankruptcy will be complete, and you don't have to worry about them coming to sue you. So yes, I recommend it, but I also recommend if you are signing anything that is a debt consolidation, that you speak to an attorney.
To add to that,
Number 10.
Let me add to this real quickly.
Yes.
Just know which type of debt just make sure you know what debt relief program you're in. Are you in a debt consolidation? Are you in a debt settlement? Are you in a debt forgiveness? Those are all different types of debt relief programs. And what Lynn said, when you start dealing with debt counsel, remember, they get paid to help you. I'm a firm believer with what you've been taught here with Lynn. If you use those tools and use some of the standard letters she have in her deck, you can get this done with your own persistence and confidence. But do know when you think about debt consolidation, think about the debt relief program that's for you. Is it a settlement? Is it forgiveness? Or is it simply consolidation? Know which one's best for you. And that'll be another class. Lynn will give you more
Excellent.
detail.
Debt relief. Yes. That's excellent. Debt relief, debt counseling, debt consolidation, and debt forgiveness. All different things. Excellent, excellent. Number 10, I've watched 4 financial experts, in quotes, on YouTube who claim it's a mistake to pay off old debts that are already in collection. Is this true? As far as I'm concerned, it is always a good idea to pay those you owe if you can. I am never going to be in agreement with trying not to pay someone that you owe. It doesn't line up. Remember when we talked about maximize your credit, treat your creditors as you'd have your debtors treat you. That's how I feel about that. Now, I know lots of people get away with it and they wait 10 years and 20 years. But I just think it's always a good idea to pay those you owe if you can. However, do not reach out to old creditors until you have the ability to pay. Okay. So you might be feeling excited today, but you may have a debt from 2010 and they're not calling you. If you don't have the money to pay them today, don't call them today because they're going to start harassing you again. And then you'll be even, more frustrated than you were. So whether you are considering bankruptcy or at some point you're going to deal with those debts, just be sure that when you do communicate, you have the ability to pay something.
That's right. That's right.
Number 11, how do you strike a balance between working hard for multiple streams of income versus a hustle culture that leaves us burned out and can affect our mental and physical health? I have to say this because not only am I a wife, a mother of 3 children, a minister, an ordained minister, I completed seminary, who runs multiple entertainment firms, and now I am responsible for all of the global affairs of the biggest hip hop legend in history. You still have to understand the difference between balance and harmony. Lori watched me when my children were young and I was out grinding. I couldn't go to every cheerleading competition. I couldn't go to every cheerleading practice. I couldn't go to everything. I had to make a choice. But I did not have balance, but I had harmony. My husband stepped in, he combed hair, he took them to class. My mother-in-law cooked meals. We had a team, and even the kids. I said, we are a basketball team. I might be the point guard scoring the points, but dad is the center and you are this, and nobody's on the bench. Okay. So you can have it all, but not at the same time in the beginning. The problem is some of you are feeling guilty because you can't do all the things that quote unquote the books tell you should do. Or because you can't do all, because you can't cook breakfast every single Saturday morning or every single, listen, my kids used to come in my bedroom at 6 a.m. on a Saturday talking about they were hungry. I said, go to sleep. You won't know you're hungry if you sleep. You will not know you're hungry if you sleep. Okay. Because these same kids could not get up at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday to go to school, but you want to get up at 6 a.m. So I did not feel guilty for not cooking at 6 a.m. They learned how to make cereal. And then I got up at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. and cooked breakfast. And then they did chores. So you've got to know that what you are doing, that you believe in it and that it's for your good and for your family's good. One of the keys to burnout is overdoing things that other people expect us to do. And I have to say no all the time, because I know the level of peace and the amount of sleep I need to be healthy. I'm going to say, pay attention to your core. Core is a process that I teach in the Entrepreneurs Academy. It's called consciously observing reality every day. Your core is where in your body all of your strength resides. If your core is weak, your body will be weak. So your core in your life means, are you conscious? Many of us are not where we want to be because we are operating, we're just going through the motions. But if you are consciously observing reality every day, I'm in a toxic relationship. I don't like that. I'm not going to ignore this anymore. I'm going to address it and deal with it. My money, every time I get paid, I have no money left. I'm no longer going to just keep doing this. I've got to do something different. You also have to embrace the work. Many of us look at work and we don't like our jobs. I always tell people, God is not promoting powders. Okay. So work is a wisdom opportunity revealed kinetically. That means when you go to work, even if you don't like your job, your boss, or whomever, what wisdom can you gain from this work? This is an opportunity because God woke you up. Something will be revealed to you that you did not know. Sometimes the people that get on your nerves are the ones that you can help. And then you will be blessed as a result of that. And kinetically, it's action. You have to take action. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. And I would also say,
Hello? Is anyone there? Hello? 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 Hello?
Hey, Lori, do you have the we're just having some technical difficulties. Do you have the slides to ask the questions? If not, we have questions from the comments.
I have she stopped at what? She was on number 11?
Yes.
I can answer any questions people want. If you want me to go, if you felt comfortable that number 11 was answered, we can go to number 12.
Okay.
Do you have them there? Screen? Could you put them? I do not have them on the screen. I have them on my phone so I can see the questions and answer the questions. If you have them to put on the screen, that'll work. Oh, Virgie says she has the PowerPoint, so she can put the PowerPoint up.
Yeah, could you share that, Virgie, please? Thank you, everyone. We're going to get it back up for being patient.
Technology is great when it works, you know.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So that's why we have to be prepared.
We're going to be up and moving in a minute. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. If you haven't done so, be sure to complete the post assessment. We just added the link to the chat again. Yes, Yolanda, this is real life live. Absolutely. So while we're waiting to bring the PowerPoint back up, again, please fill out the post assessment if you have not done so already. Thank you, Shirley. Shirley said we don't need the PowerPoint. You can just read the questions.
Yeah, well, you can read the questions and we can go with the answers too. I mean, it was question 12. How beneficial are the fixed income instruments and which would you recommend? Again, I am married to a CPA who's also an attorney. And when you get questions like this, I often say, please check with your investment advisor about annuities and other fixed income instruments, which can provide you an income for life. You do want to have a lifetime income. And there are instruments when you start early enough that you can do that, from different types of annuities to even your own 401k plan at your job or your 403b at your organization. The key there is making the commitment to continually to make an investment. And those are key things that I always tell people. Never stop. It's never too late, but start somewhere. I tell you, There are many instruments out there where they can, what we call it in the industry, make sure your money outlives you. That's your ultimate goal. My biggest fear was always being old and broke. So I was diligent about making sure I put away money and into tools that were not high risk. The older I got, I moved away from riskier type of investments. The younger you are, the more you can risk the market. But when you're getting close to retirement, you probably need to be more close to fixed types of investments that's going to protect you. But again, whatever you do, talk to a tax advisor and or a CPA. Next question. The question was, after age 60 and close to retirement, is it best to open a traditional or a Roth IRA? I think you need to understand what they are. A traditional IRA, you don't pay taxes now. You pay the taxes when you start to withdraw the income, usually after you're 70 or whenever you retire, you need that money. But you can't start taking it before 59 and a half without a penalty. That's what you need to clearly know. A Roth IRA, you pay your taxes now, but the money grows and you do not pay taxes when you withdraw the income. So again, this is when you look at your own personal situation. If you are gainfully employed, it is always better to do it pre-tax because it's going to also reduce your taxable income at that time. It's a general thought that as we get older and when we retire, we're on a fixed income. So our tax obligation is less when we're on a fixed income when it's time for you to withdraw it. Again, speak to your investment advisor and go through an analysis. There are many tools out there that'll say this is option A, this is option B, this is option C, this is option D. Make sure you get the option that's best for you and then follow it up with a trusted advisor. It is very key to make sure when you're investing your money, you want to get a return. Next question. Question 14. Let me make sure I'm at the right question. Okay. What is your advice for someone who doesn't quite understand or like the idea of business loans, especially while unemployed? And what is a good, healthy way of viewing loans? First of all, if you are unemployed, lenders are not going to use that income because that income is only guaranteed usually for 26 weeks, and then you have to apply for a renewal. Lenders generally want to make sure you have at least 2 years of income that's guaranteed before they include it in anything, and they'll generally try to set your loan up to make sure it matures if you do not have any income coming. So get a business coach to better understand how a business loan can help you increase your capacity to earn more income, but do not borrow more than you can ever pay back. The key to any lending is never borrow more than you can afford to pay back. If we use credit properly, credit is a wealth tool for us. Credit can help you create money, can create wealth. That's what it did for me. It helped me create wealth because I was poor. I didn't have any money. I just learned how to use credit to build wealth. And the first wealth tool I used was home ownership. Had enough equity in the house. My husband started a business. The business has done so well that he just sold the business. So it all aligns. But if you are unemployed, first of all, you need to try to find yourself gainful employment because it's going to be difficult for you to get a loan. Healthy way of viewing loans in general, never borrow more than you can afford. Use the general rules of, for most personal loans, lenders will not want your total debt to be over 46%. For most mortgage loans, they don't want your total debt to be over, really to be comfortable, they really don't want it to be over 43%. Now, if you've demonstrated the ability that you can pay it at a higher debt to income ratio, they will do it because they call that a no payment shock loan. During the first section, Lynn Richardson spoke briefly about how her student loans were forgiven. Can she speak more about how she was able to do that? As you see, her student loans were given because they were in a repayment for 20 years or more. Please learn more about the student loan forgiveness. There are a number of student loan forgiveness programs out there, and there are programs that can be tied to your profession. So, for example, if you are an educator and if you are willing to teach in some urban cities or in some rural communities for X number of years, mostly for educators, it's 5 years, 4 to 5 years, then they will forgive all your debt. There are also forgiveness programs for those who go into research, because America doesn't have enough medical researchers, that they pretty much give you loan. They give you grants for free to go to school to do that, in a way of trying to keep the brain trust in America. But look up student loans, mortgage loan forgiveness, and cancellations. But also think about what your loans are, and they may be able to be forgiven even if they're not a student loan. Again, there's so many tools out there, but I'm going to stick to Lynn's answer right there. Next question. Do we have another question? Virgie?
I think we're done with the questions. But I wanted to go back to the previous 2 slides so that when they do this when people watch replay, they can see the slides, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. I know we were here, so I'm gonna go with questions because she did give them some good tips as you explained thoroughly as well.
Okay, so how beneficial are fixed income instruments, and which would you recommend? A fixed income security is an investment that provides a return through your fixed period interest payments, unlike variable. Fixed is, if they say it's 10%, it's 10%. Variable, if it starts at 5%, it might be able to go to 10%. It may be able to go down to 2%. Some are short term, some are long term. I'm a firm believer in treasury notes because the government generally guarantees those. You have T-bonds. I spoke earlier about I-bonds, and there are E-bonds. The good thing about
one of the questions was, how do they obtain an I-bond?
Oh, actually, you can go to the Treasury. Go to treasury.com. Go to treasury.org, and it's listed there. They list all the bonds that they have, and they actually tell you what the current rate they are and what the duration period is. So when you invest in them, you actually know what you're investing in and how much.
And I'm gonna go to the next chat question. It was like, you also spoke about the 529 plans that you had for your grandbabies.
Yes. What's the question?
The question was, explain it.
Explain it. Okay. 529 is a plan that you invest money for your grandchildren's education. Mostly every state has them. I'm in a situation now that all my children live in the DMV area. They either live in Washington, D.C. and Virginia, and I live in North Carolina. So I made sure I got a plan that's reciprocal, that they can go to any school in the country, even though it's a 529. Some 529s are specific only to their state. So the child would have to go to a school within the state system.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't have to be a state school, but it has to be in that state. So if it's in Maryland and you have a Maryland 529, they would have to go to a Maryland school. There are ways to get in there, but again, you're supposed to be using it primarily to help educate the child that you've invested it in, and it's individual per child.
Awesome.
Okay. Next,
the other question in the chat was, which vehicles do you recommend for purchasing stock? I think they mean like, who would you go to purchase the stock? Like which brokerage firm, or maybe?
The first thing I will tell you is look at stock as a total risk market and only invest what you're willing to lose. Yes, you can win big, but you can lose big too. So I always say to people, when you get ready to invest in stock, say, what am I willing to lose? Start there. If you're willing to lose $500, then don't invest more than $500. If you're willing to lose $3,000, then don't invest more than $3,000. I have, because over the years, I've learned how to do this. I actually use the online traders because they're cheaper than when you call Merrill Lynch or someone that's going to invest for you. You have to pay them a fee. Whereas E-Trade, Ameritrade, a lot of them also have classes that you can attend to help you understand how to invest. But if you
plug, I was going to say shameless plug. The question on the slide now is talking about the Entrepreneurs Academy. We actually have a class, high level, two parts. Our facilitator is also Soror Erica Blair. She teaches how to invest in the stock market. She talks about diversification, diversifying risk management, as you just spoke of. And you had even mentioned earlier not having to buy a lot, just a little at a time. She teaches us about ETFs.
Yep, ETFs. And so you get all of that in one class, and it's 2 parts just because of the nature of the content, of course. And they're 2 90-minute courses, and they're included at no additional charge if you want to look at, if those that are interested want to look at becoming a member through the Entrepreneurs Academy.
Well, thank you, Virgie. I didn't mean to shameless plug. I was just telling them what I did. I forgot all.
Right, no, that's good. No, it was tied right in.
I forgot all about that because I've been doing this so long by myself. But I do appreciate that. We do have a Sarah who does an excellent job. She does
absolutely, absolutely.
So if you're gonna pay anybody, pay her. How about that, Virgie?
Right. Keep it in the house. Keep it in the house. So Erica Blair, right? I am Erica Blair on social media. And then right into the next question, it says, I am literally an ignorant. We're not going to. I don't want to say that ignorant when it comes to stocks and investments. She just has to get educated. She wants to get more education on stocks and investments, and I do not know where to begin or any suggestions for beginners and books to read. Yes, come to New Wealth University and take part in how to invest in the stock market and other classes. That's where you can get a good beginning. But we all started by reading. Yes, Google it, but definitely work with a trusted financial advisor. I am going to receive some money from a car accident. Not enough to pay off the new car payment, but would like to put somewhere in future investments until retirement. Where to start?
Well, that question is a 2-part loaded question because first of all, I would need to know how close are they to retirement. Secondly, what type of car are they interested in buying? Do they need to buy a car? For example, I had a Cadillac. My car got totaled. I decided, you know what? I'm going to buy me something with the money and I'm not going to have a payment. So with what the insurance company gave me and a little bit, and then me putting in a little money, I got a new car. It was nowhere near a Cadillac, but it had all the features. It was just called a Chevy. I'm not going to even say Chevy. A Chevy Equinox, but it had everything in it. It had heated seats, air-conditioned seats, the moonroof, anything you can think about, the tailgate that lifts by itself. But guess what the difference in the price was? The Cadillac was $67,000. The Equinox was $37,000. You know, it's about, again, our priority. A car immediately depreciates when you take it off the car lot. I'm about reliable transportations. And nowadays, with so much remote working, you really need to rethink about what kind of money you want to put in the car. But to be clear on the question is, you could take part of that money, put a sizable down payment on your car, and take the rest and invest in a high yield CD. I would like to say most people should start off. Some banks like Capital One is paying almost 5.5% through a money market, which means you have access to it when you need, or do short-term high yield CDs, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. That way you can have access to those dollars if you need it without withdrawing them with penalty.
Excellent. This is a multi-part question. What is the best way to go about paying down debt when it comes to credit cards? And that's the first question. Part 2 is, should I start with the credit card, the largest balance first or the largest interest rate? Or is it opposite, smallest balance, lowest interest rate? Is it okay to take a loan against my 401k to pay it down the debt?
Well, I never like to use good money to throw at bad money. I think the issue here is to discipline yourself. And actually, when you talk about paying it down, there's several schools of thought. I always prefer, when I talk to people, to tell them to look at what's the highest interest rate with the lowest balance, because you can easily use the snowball effect to pay it off. So if you had a balance of, say, $8,000 with an interest rate of 3%, but you had a balance of $1,200 with an interest rate of 21%, I'm going to pay the $1,200 off first, because I can then take the money I was putting it to add toward that $8,000 one. The higher the interest rate, yes, you may have to pay that interest. But again, when you start knocking down principal, Once you pay off that $1,200, if you were paying $200 on that a month, take that $200 and start adding it to that higher bill. It's called the snowball effect. There are others who clearly say they like to start with the highest interest rate. I never start with the highest interest rate if it has the highest balance. I always stay with the lowest balance with the lowest interest rate because it's just quicker to pay off. And I got a note here that I guess we have 10 minutes. We got to wrap up. So
okay, we got 3 more questions.
Go ahead.
It's 4, but the last one is really simple. I think they're talking about the SCORE website. But can attorney fees or for settlement be tax deductible also in a money settlement text?
I'm going to say check with a tax advisor. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
Amen.
Where tell me don't touch that.
Where do we find great advisors?
Well, I will start by this saying everybody in the skin is not your friend. So we need to understand that first. Just because we're the same complexion don't mean everybody have your best interest. But I do think oftentimes you can find trusted advisors. For example, HUD has a list of trusted advisors for credit counselors and stuff, and they actually check these groups out and eliminate them. But I also think you can find trusted advisors through friends and families based on how they've been treated by people or mistreated by people. I would never recommend. Normally what I do when somebody asks me for somebody, I recommend 2 or 3 people and say, do you want a man? Do you want a woman? What are you specifically trying to do? And then try to get them to the right advisor. Because a person is an advisor, it doesn't mean they're a credit advisor. It doesn't mean they're an investment advisor. It doesn't mean they're a retirement advisor. So it's being clear about what type of advisor you're looking for and then making sure you have enough options that you can interview all of them and decide who you want to go with. Be selective. Just because you need help doesn't mean you don't have the right to choose, and be selective.
And then lastly, what is the business mentor? I'm sorry, what before that? Do you advise a senior citizen to do an annuity after the age of 75?
Well, I'm 67 and I'm not doing annuity at this age. Again, that's one of those questions depending on what your personal financial situation. Annuities generally, they are tied to go 10 to 12 years. So if you're 75, to get your greatest return on annuity, they're going to tie your money up for at least 10 years. Okay, you may live to 85. That would be a great thing, but there's no guarantee. But your heirs can get it. Again, when you look at annuities, think about the instrument and think about the term, and then make sure you understand what the penalty is. I know a lot of people are turned on with annuity because they say, just for signing up, we're going to give you 20% bonus. Well, that 20% bonus is tied up for X number of years, and they start allocating it annually depending on the term of your annuity.
Awesome. And then the question is, what is the business mentor website again?
SCORE. Just put in SCORE, SCORE. I'm going to look it up for you right while I'm on the phone so I can give you I can put it in the chat for you.
Awesome. And then one popped in, can we reinvest money that we have taken from the annuity?
Sure you can. There's nothing that says you can't. Again, what do you want to invest it in? Because sometimes when your annuity matures, you're not ready to take all that money. Remember, in our country, once you start taking your, like I haven't taken any of my 401k plan, but when I'm 70, 72, if they pass a new law, I have to start taking a disbursement. Mm-hmm. So again, go to a tax advisor to make sure you know when you have to take a disbursement, which is why it's a lot difficult to do an annuity at 75 because you're supposed to start taking your money out.
All right. It's been a pleasure. Those are all the questions that we have from the.
Well, I thank everybody. I know you all have had a fantastic 10 weeks with my girl, Lynn Richardson. We go way back, as she said. I'm happy to have been a part of this evening and will make myself available anytime. like Lynn and I say, you know, I retired. I've had a great year last year doing absolutely nothing. I just decided last week to enter into a what I call a work order contract. I do the work, they pay me, but it's on my terms. I'm not going to anybody's office. I say all this to say, plan your money or your money will plan you. You want to get to the age, to the point that when you are my age, which is 67, you have options. You have options as to whether or not you have to work or you want to work. That should be your ultimate goal. You should have the goal of saying, hey, after I have worked 50 years or 60 years, it's time now for me to have fun. It's time for me to travel. It's time for me to hang out with the grandchildren. It's just time for me. It's me time. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Antoinette Rogers.
Hey, Soror Lori, thank you so much for a wonderful session. Thank you, Virgie Bully, and everyone from Dr. Lynn's Wealth University team. You know, I am a bit sad because we have become family over the last 10 weeks. And yes, we are now winding down the last few moments of this wonderful series made possible by the Toyota Foundation, sponsored by the Delta Research and Educational Foundation. I'd like to remind you to please complete the post-assessment so we can measure your growth as a participant from week 1 through week 10. Also coming soon, you will receive a link via email to complete the evaluation. The evaluation will allow you to provide feedback about this program and about what things you'd like to see in the future. So for now, I'd like to say good night and farewell, but it's not goodbye because we hope to see you soon. Please follow DREF on our social media platforms and visit our website at www.deltafoundation.net. Thank you all for a wonderful 10-week session. Participants, you are the heart of this program. We thank you for being here. We encourage you to share the recordings with your family and friends. Those recordings are found on the DREF website and on the DREF YouTube channel. So until next time, this is Antoinette Rogers, Program Director of DREF, saying good night, thank you, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.